Did you know that nearly 3 in every 4 of all our jobs could be replaced? But how? Through automation. So this is simply the replacement of a human worker with a machine to do the exact same job. You're about to find out who is at most risk of automation, what the benefits of automation are, and also what will happen as a result of automation. To assess who is at risk of automation, we look at practice, so what people do, what jobs they do. We look at them as people, so who are they? Are they old or young? Are they male or female? Finally, we look at place, so where do they live? Practice, so this is the most important factor. We see immediately from the graph that is low-skilled workers who are at high risk of automation. This is because the job that they do is more simple, and therefore it is easier for a machine to do their job. However, we also see that it is administrative and secretarial jobs that are the most at risk from automation. So why is that? Well, it's because it's not just the skill of the worker that counts. It's also the type of tasks that they do in their job. Administrative and secretarial work often involves a lot of repetitive or menial tasks. And it's those tasks that are the easiest to teach a machine to do. Therefore, they're the easiest replaced. On the other end, we have high-skilled workers who are at low risk of automation. So this is because their work involves a lot of interpersonal skills or problem-solving skills that a machine just can't do. You can't teach a machine emotional intelligence, for example. Right, so let's look at people. So what is the risk of automation by age? We can see from the graph that the tallest bar, the darkest or hottest bar, is that of the youngest age group, those aged between 20 and 24 years old. Now, it's true that that age group holds the highest proportion of jobs that are at high risk of automation. So 15% of the 20 to 24 age group are in jobs that are at high risk. But it's not them we should be worried about. Instead, it's older workers that we should worry about. Not only do the last two bars start to get taller, start to get darker or hotter for the last two age groups, but also these workers will struggle more to retrain into new jobs than younger workers. So younger workers frequently move between jobs, especially in the UK, and they pick up new skills along the way. These skills make them more adaptable. It means if their jobs are automated, they can more easily retrain into new jobs with the skills they have. However, older workers haven't had that privilege. They might have been in the same job, doing the same work for years. They aren't as adaptable, and if their jobs happen to be automated, then they will struggle to retrain and might be at more risk of long-term unemployment. Now, let's look at the risk of automation by sex. So it's been found that women tend to hold almost 3 out of 4 of all the jobs that are considered to be high risk of automation. Now, this is because women are more likely to hold those administrative and secretarial jobs that we talked about before that can be easily replaced. This means that women might be at more risk of automation and therefore will be at more risk of unemployment. Now let's look at place. So here we have a tale of two places. We have Camden on the left, which is said to hold the smallest proportion of those jobs considered to be at high risk of automation. And on the right, we have Tamworth, the place said to hold the largest proportion of jobs considered to be at high risk of automation. So what's going on here is simply that Camden has more professional jobs, creative jobs that require workers to have interpersonal skills and problem-solving skills that we've seen can't be replaced by a machine. Whereas Tamworth features more low-skilled jobs that feature repetitive tasks that can more easily be replaced by a machine and therefore a high risk. For example, Tamworth holds, so 1 in 4 in every workers in Tamworth work in elementary roles that are low skilled. They may even feature repetitive tasks. Whereas if we compare that to Camden, only 1 in 10 workers in Camden are in those elementary roles. Where more high-risk jobs are concentrated in places like Tamworth, the people who live there are more likely to end up working in one of those high-risk jobs, which puts them more at risk of automation as a result. So where you live really matters in terms of your risk of automation. Right, now let's look at the benefits of automation. So actually, automation can help workers. So what happens is that if a worker has a small part of their job or some part of their job that features those repetitive or menial tasks, but not all of it, those tasks can be automated. But that leaves the worker more able to focus on the important tasks in their job. Some of it is automated. They're able to focus more on those important parts. This means they can complete more tasks in a shorter amount of time. In turn, their businesses or employers benefit because they can now sell more of a product or deliver more of a service without having to hire more staff because their staff are working better because of the automation. In turn, this means that the businesses make more profit. And if their staff are now working with higher skill because of the automation processes, it means that they might be able to give their staff pay rises as well. So what exactly will happen as a result of automation? So what happens is what we call hollowing out of the workforce. Don't worry, this isn't as complicated as it first sounds, and we'll break it down. So first, what we mean by workforce is simply every single person in the country who is able to work. They are old enough to work and they're well enough to work. Now, imagine all those people are lined up somewhere along this line, split between the unemployed, the low skilled, the medium skilled, and the high skilled. Now, the crucial changes happen around the medium skilled workers. So, some of these workers are replaced through automation. Maybe their job is, the majority of their job features those repetitive tasks, or all of their job features those repetitive tasks. They are replaced and forced to move left along the scale, towards low skilled work. Now, what happens to low skilled workers as a result? Well, they're now competing with medium skilled workers for the same jobs. The truth is they can't compete. So they're forced even further along the scale and are at risk of unemployment. However, other medium skilled workers are actually helped by automation. They receive the benefits that we just talked about. So they're able to produce more in a shorter period of time. They're able to complete more tasks in a shorter period of time. And they move right as they become more valuable to their employer and are now seen as high-skilled workers. So what's left? What's left is a gap where the medium-skilled workers once were. Now, some have moved left because they've been replaced through automation, and some have moved right where they've been helped by automation. This gap now looks like a hollowing out effect of the workforce, with workers concentrated at either ends in the low-skilled and unemployed parts of the workforce and in the high-skilled parts of the workforce, with this gap in between showing a hollowing out effect of the workforce. So, should we be worried about automation? Well, we've seen that there are indeed benefits and negatives to automation as workers can lose their jobs. Whether you will see these negative effects or benefits is based on where you live, who you are, and what you do.